So for the past 3 days, we have seen a whole lot of posts from different news media handles, big accounts, small accounts, and even the ones we don't even know if they are human beings or bots, saying basically the same thing. That the Nigerian Muslims are killing the Nigerian Christians. These statements are actually very dangerous. These statements are not just lies, but are very dangerous and can lead to a war in Nigeria if nothing is done about it. So before we get into it, a quick intro. My name is Zaka Timothy, aka the Town Crier, and right here is the village meeting. So guys, welcome. If this is your first time, I highly implore you to join the community by clicking the subscribe button. And guys, I have an important announcement to make. For those people that have noticed it, right here in my background is this. I was called to bar last Tuesday. So yeah, I was called to bar last Tuesday, and it is now official. We can now drag the government and hold them by the neck and possibly say the truth backed up by law. And guys, that is not all. We actually moved from 106 people in this family as subscribers to 400, I think 500 now, yeah? To over 500 persons as a family. Guys, I cannot thank you enough. Welcome to this channel, and please share this video so that we can reach more people and get like minds to come and spread the good words, because Nigeria as we know it, Africa as a whole, is in a dark. I intend to see Nigeria on the brighter side. Africa as a whole has been neglected for far too long. We need to rise and take our country and continent back. That is my only goal for this channel. My arms are wide open. I welcome you into this great family. We are going to become so big that the continent is not even going to contain us. We are going to go way international. So before wasting much of your time and mine, let's get right into business. Now, like I said earlier, for the past 3 to 5 days, we have seen the whole X timeline littered with a lot of posts saying similar or the same thing. One of these posts is this one saying that this year, more Christians have been killed in Nigeria than Palestinian civilians in Gaza. Another one stated that 62,000 Nigerian Christians murdered since 2002. Now, this whole news did not start from the thin air. It always had a start. But before we get into that, Ryan Garcia posted, which actually made the whole thing more popular because, he has lots of following. So he posted this saying, we need to talk about what's going on in Nigeria. The whole Christian population in Nigeria is getting wiped out. The Christians there need help. Now, the whole statement did not start from thin air, like I said, and this started from the statements by Maher in this clip. Listen to it.
If you don't know what's going on in Nigeria, your media sources suck. You are in a bubble. And again, I'm not a Christian, but they are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria. They've killed over 100,000 since 2009. They've burned 18,000 churches. This is so much more. These are their Islamists, Boko Haram. This is so much more of a genocide attempt than what is going on in Gaza. They are literally attempting to wipe out the Christian population of an entire country. Where are the kids protesting this?
Now, to further strengthen this, the X account of Radio Genoa actually posted this clip to add to the whole thing.
There are more people dying in Nigeria than are dying in Palestine. I can tell you that last year alone, over 500,000 Christians were killed in Nigeria just in 1 year.
The statement is clear, the message is clear. What they are trying to get you to understand is that the Christians in Nigeria are facing a genocide by the Islamists, whether the Boko Haram or the Muslims there. All it is being said is that the Christians are greatly wiped out and are killed and are targeted in north, in the south, and also in the middle belt part of Nigeria. Now, when I saw this whole thing, the first question that came to my mind is, where are they getting all these statistics from? Now, let us assume that credible bodies actually posted the statistics to show that a lot of Christians in thousands, in 500,000s have actually been killed. How did they come about these numbers? How did they get these results? How did they carry out the survey to know that this number of persons have actually been wiped out? Because one thing I can guarantee you for sure is that if it is Nigeria, we actually have a problem of documentation and keeping data and records of things that are happening. That is just it. One of the things you will notice is that if you try to click on those reports and those news media that are posting these reports and these statistics, you realize that the data they are getting, they are quoting it from thin air. There is no actual reference to the data or how the reports were carried out in order to come up with these numbers. They just say it and people pick it from there and go and run with it and start spewing it and spreading these false narratives. Now, you obviously know where I'm going with this whole thing, right? To say that, okay, the Christians are not targeted and there's no genocide going on. But that would be a great lie. In fact, that would be a very big fat lie to say that Christians in Middle Belt and also in some parts of the North are not targeted. Because if you are being sincere with yourself, you realize that in Southern Kaduna, for the past years, Christians have actually been targeted. Yes, there are ethnic wars. Ethnic misunderstandings exist in some parts of Nigeria, especially where you have Christians and Muslims staying together in one state. You have these kind of things. They are occurrent. Also, when you look at the Middle Belt parts of Nigeria, you realize that these whole issues are actually happening. Christians are killed in numbers. Most times we can almost predict when Christians are going to be killed. When you look at situations or times or seasons of celebrations like Christmas, New Year, and even Easter celebrations. Terrorists attack churches and kill people in mass, and that's why we tend to believe that there is actually a genocide going on and there is an intent to wipe out the Christian populations in Nigeria. Yes, we have a problem of genocide. We have a problem of Christians getting targeted in some parts of Nigeria, fostered by ethnic and religious rivalry. We have that. However, my major concern is this rubbish going on right now, that the terrorists are actually targeting the Christians alone. Because that is a big fat lie. Let us unravel this step by step. This whole issue is not synonymous to Christians alone. The killings that are going on in Nigeria by the Boko Haram, by the ISWAP, by whatever group you think is killing Nigerians is not just targeted to the Muslims alone. Christians and Muslims are dying from this issue. That is one thing we need to understand. It is not just a Muslim and Christian problem. It is a Nigerian problem. Now, let me shock you with this whole stats, right? If you go to any IDP camp in Nigeria, the most populated people there are the Muslims. In fact, the actual people that have suffered the brunt of Boko Haram specifically are actually the Muslims. Because where do they attack? Northeast and other parts of North specifically. These are states that are heavily populated by the Muslims. The Christians, they make up at least, let's say, about 25% or 30% of the whole entire population. You see that every single IDP camp is mostly populated by the Muslims. These are the people suffering the brunt of Boko Haram in the north. Right? So for you to come out to say that it is only Christians that are being targeted, that are killed through Boko Haram and other terrorist group, it is a very big lie. The danger of this whole narrative that is being pushed. Some Nigerians, Christians and Muslims alike, are actually starting to run with this whole narrative and propaganda. Some are actually believing the fact that yes, thousands of Christians are actually getting massacred. And I tend to believe that this is as a result of the long awaited desire for people's plight to be heard. The desire that your suffering has been noticed. But what the Nigerian Christians do not understand is that they are only using your plight and your suffering against you. These people are not trying to help you. Now, by these people, allow me to digress. I am talking about the people that are paying those handles and those news media to spew this kind of narrative, to say that there are more Christians that have been killed when compared to Gaza. If you tell me that there are more Nigerians that have been killed than people that have been killed in Gaza, I will humbly and gladly propagate this narrative. Why? Because this statement is true. More people have been killed in Nigeria this year alone compared to what has happened in Nigeria and even Ukraine combined. It is not Nigerian Christians suffering alone. If you're a Christian in Nigeria listening to this, what you should understand is that these people are trying to use your desire to be seen. The desire that your problem is known and is heard. They are using it against you so that you can have and develop this anger, this vexation for the Muslims in your country. And what happens at the end of the day? It brings war. And when war happens, who enjoys the brunt of the war? These things are patterns. We have seen this get repeated over and over again. So now back to what I was saying, right? If you're a Nigerian that knows the Nigerian problem and what is wrong with Africa, you realize that to those people, a person living in Nigeria and a person living outside of Nigeria, that the Igbo woman in the East and the Zulu woman in South Africa are one and the same people in their eyes. They do not give a damn whether or not you're a Nigerian or you are a South African or you are even from Gambia or where. They only care about the fact that they can exploit you and use you the way they ought to by spreading false narratives and propagandas that will allow them to maybe invade and take whatever it is they came for. This is what is going on. This is the hidden agenda that most Nigerians are not even paying attention to. This right here is a very, very, very serious reason, and it causes for worry. Now, for those people that do not think much of this and do not see the danger behind this whole thing, I am going to explain to you, because first, Nigeria has a religion problem. We are actually sitting on the edge with each other. When you look at this whole issue, you realize that the whole religious situation in Nigeria is even worse than the ethnic one. Christians and Muslims are actually living on the edge in some parts of Nigeria. So bringing these narratives is only going to make matters worse. It is going to make it as easy as anything for these people to engage each other again. This propaganda right here is the most dangerous one I have ever seen, and if nothing is said or done about it, a lot is going to happen. Now, in order to substantiate and add to what I've stated earlier about the reason why this propaganda is being carried out, there is a research that has been done by the investigative journalist David Hundeyin regarding this whole issue, and I'm going to play a very small part of this portion for you so you look at it. Please listen.
A senior fellow at the US Policy Research Institute is trying to set Nigeria on fire. And however bad that may sound to you, it's so much worse than what you think. Here's what is happening. The American Enterprise Institute is a private non-profit founded in 1943, which has grown into an institution that is effectively the beating heart of the US economic and political establishment. And here's where the AEI comes in. Now, over the past few months, Michael Rubin, a senior policy fellow at the AEI, has published a series of articles on the organization's website, openly calling for the US government to intervene militarily in Nigeria, ostensibly to help Biafra, which according to him is a persecuted Christian oasis surrounded by a hostile Islamic majority in Nigeria. The problem here is that this is simply not true. Nigeria's population is almost evenly split between Christian and Muslim, and the basis of Biafran separatism is ethnic, not religious. Rubin, however, repeatedly pushes the falsehood that the Biafran movement and the agitation by Christians facing real violence in Nigeria's Middle Belt and North are one and the same thing. This is completely false. Rubin is knowingly pushing a dangerously false narrative for the consumption of a powerful American audience. A narrative which, given the AEI's influence, could someday end up in an official US foreign policy document. This is the first time that a powerful policy organization with genuine influence over American government decision-making is attempting to mainstream the idea that one of Nigeria's 3 majority ethnic groups should be designated as an Israel by the US government, with the rest of Nigeria becoming Palestine, if you know what I mean. And if you're familiar with the AEI's position on the real Palestine, this should worry you a lot. This whole thing is being orchestrated for the same reason that every other African conflict is orchestrated: the resources. It's always the resources.
Now, just like you heard, according to him, the whole reason behind this is for resource control. They want to create an artificial war, make people start fighting each other, and then invade them and try to make peace. And on the guise of peace, they get whatever resources they want to get. We have seen this happen countless times. We have seen it in movies, we have seen it in books, we have seen it in documentaries, and we have seen it in the physical, in real life. This is what is going on. Now, if you're in Nigeria and you're in support of what is happening here, and you feel like some people are seeing you, some people are sympathizing with you, and they are trying to see your plight and they're trying to help you, one thing you should be careful of is that this is nothing about you. These people do not care about you. These people only care about what they can get from you. And if they can use you for propaganda, they will use it. If they can use you for your resources, they will do it. Now, I am happy that a lot of people are actually speaking against this. You see lots of tweets and lots of posts of people contradicting this whole issue, saying that there's really no genocide going on. And the Minister of Information has actually come outside to make a statement to say that what is going on is just false and a propaganda. Now, lastly, the whole religious leaders need to come out and actually start addressing these issues. Muslim and Christians alike. You need to start telling your church members and the people that you are leaders of that there is nothing as such going on. Tell them that yes, there is a problem we have in Nigeria, that the Muslims and Christians are not really tolerant with each other when it comes to some things. We should know our problems, but do not make it to mean that there's a genocide going on, that the terrorist groups like Boko Haram are only targeting the Christians, which is not true. So if you're a Nigerian living within or outside Nigeria and you think that there is any contribution that can make sense and actually add to the reasons why you think this is going on, please bring it in. I am very, very happy to accept them. Now, if you are new to this channel, my goal is simple: to steer the minds of Nigerians from this docility, that there is a lot that the government is doing that ought not to be. My aim is to comment on these issues to make you angry enough to attack your issues and face them, because if not, we are going to die one after the other, not from terrorism, not from banditry, but from our docility and lukewarmness towards our own problems. We are Nigerians, we are Africans, we need to face our problems head on so we can start to live rather than live in constant fear and lack. Please hit the subscribe button so we can go from 400 followers to even 1,000 so that we can begin to effect change and our voices will be heard in the bigger platforms. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. Until next time, peace.